Okay. So let's move ahead, guys, with the network stuff. What is Python network automation? You must have heard about the network, dealing with the network. As per our discussion, I got to know that there are few people who are from the different background who just know CCNA. They don't know how to handle the network devices. So I'm here to solve your entire doubt. Now, first of all, the term Python network automation, where it is came from, right? So Python network automation is the term that where we can deal with our network devices. So sorry, my pen is not working. That's fine. So how we can go with getting my screen, no, guys? SI guys, can you just confirm? Sorry, there was a lag in between.
No. I think we lost your screen.
Oh, my bad. Give me. Sorry again. Today there was a power issue. So, okay, that's fine. Let me go to this. Let me share my screen once again. Sorry for that. I was facing power issues. Okay, I hope that my screen is visible now. So, the Python network automation, I want to clear first thing first. See, we are not a Python developer, right? For we are not a Python developer. What we are a network specialist or network automation engineer. So then what is the big difference about Python developer and the network guys or network automation developer? See, Python developer are those who used to write 100 lines of code for us, right? But being a network automation engineer, being a network developer, we just need to use the entire modules which has already created in the by the Python developers. Let's say we are not a Python developer, like we need to write 100 lines of code and then we will integrate our network. No, what we need to do is the codes are or the modules has already been created in the by the Python developers. We just need to use those modules or those libraries for our use to automate our network devices. That is mean by network automation developer, right? So let's move ahead. Why we need or where we can use this network automation stuff? Let's understand by the example. Now, if you got the results or if you got to work from your client that you need to take a backup of, let's say, 1,000 devices, right? And for the 1,000 devices, I'm giving you that what the usual process that you will gonna do, you need to log into each and every device. Let's say I have a IP of 192.168.1.1 of first devices, right? Until 1.19 1.100, there will be a devices that you need to logged in, and then you need to store the configuration of the devices one by one, right? So it could take your at least 5 hours or 6 hours of time. It depends on your speed as well. That depends. But with the help of automation, believe me, you can do this entire config backup of 1,000 devices or more than that within a fraction of time, right? So that is a magic, or that is the good thing about automation. Now, this is the one a simple example, and this is what the use of your code is. Now the second is, it will, okay, you have written a code for taking a backup of 100 devices, right? Now you have written a code, after some time or after some days, again you got the requirement that you need to take another backup of the devices, another 100 devices backup. So at that time, what you're gonna do, you are not going to create the code again. right? You can reuse the same code. What you just need to change? You just need to change the IP addresses. So the IP addresses, you can store these IP addresses in any of the format, right? So then you can store these IP addresses in .txt file, .xls file, I mean Excel file. You can fetch it from there, or you can store it from txt, either from the XLS file, and you can use to take a backup. This is the for taking the backup. For saving the file, you can save in the JSON, in the XML, in the TXT, all format. And see guys, this all everything that I'm telling over to you over here, it will take a fraction of seconds, right? It is irrespective of 100 device, irrespective of 1,000 device and all, right? So that is the power of network automation. Let's move ahead with our slides. So now this is something about me. I have a total 8+ years of experience in this domain. I am, let me, so I have certified in PCEP, which is Python certification. I have certified in CCNA, Automation Anywhere, which is RPA, Robotics Process Automation. Third is cyber security and cyber warrior certified. And since almost 3 years, I'm working as a network developer, Python network developer in a good organization. So that's it about me. Again, I'll just move ahead to explain that why it is needed, why the network automation, there is a need of network automation today. First thing first, I just want to go with configuration, configuring, and monitoring purpose, right? So see guys, we are paying a huge amount of cost to our monitoring systems or monitoring tool, just like SolarWinds, right? But why we have to pay the huge cost to this monitoring tools? Either we can get, or we can automate, or we can take a backup of our device, we can monitor our device with the help of Python only. Let's take an example of how we can monitor it. Suppose I have a router with me, right? With the help of router, if I have two ISPs with me, let's say Vodafone or ATT, right? So what I need to do is, if any of the BGP neighbor will goes down, what we can do is we can set a Python. So now Python, what Python will do, Python will keep his track updated. When this particular neighbor will goes down, it will automatically send an email, send an alert, or whatever that you have set, that the Python will do. So why we need to give a cost to the monitoring tools, right? So this is the most common advantage of the Python network automation. Second, configuration part. As I told you that, okay, taking the backup or taking the something from the devices, that's fine. But what if, let's understand from the example, you got a request that you have received data from your client to configure, suppose 100 ports of 1,000 devices, not 100 ports, sorry, for 32 ports or 48 ports for the 1,000 devices. Now what you can do is, as usual process, you all knows that if you need to configure 48 ports of the devices, what you can do, you need to log into each and every devices, you need to change the description of those devices and all. So which is not a usual case, right? What you can do is, you can create your own Python code. That we're gonna teach. I'll gonna tell you that how you can create your code in the classes, obviously. Now you need to create your own code. After creating your own code, whatever the desired output that I want, let's say I got a requirement from my client that he want to configure 48 ports of different, let's say 100 of the devices. I want to just change the configuration or description of that particular ports. So I will write that code accordingly that can change this particular description. That is one funda. That is meant by configuring and the monitoring. Second, managing, right? How we can manage our devices. So managing consists of vulnerability in the sense, if we have found in the organization, as if let's say if you are working in a data centers, it could be possible that you need to keep your devices up to date, upgrade, right? So at that time what you can do is you can use Python to take the backup of the versions, right? What you can do is you can take the backup automatically from the devices that you have installed. Then according to that, if your client suggest, or if you suggest, if you think that I need to upgrade the device, you can write the upgradation code in Python, and via automation only you can upgrade those devices, right? So that code we also gonna learn in the Python, how we can upgrade our devices. See, upgrading our devices, it doesn't mean that, see, that if we are upgrading some of the devices, if there is any consequences after upgrading those devices, that is also taken care by Python. So that is why we have choose the Python rather than any other languages, right? We have multiple languages with us, but why we are dealing with Python, we will see in the further slides. Let's move ahead. Now I have one of the example for you. See, this is the example. Now here what I'm doing is I have a switch with me, right? This could be a L3 switch. Now what I have found that in one of the interface, I got to know that the input errors are increasing day by day. So at that time, rather than going to the switch, logging to the switch, checking that interface status, it is not going to worth it. What I'll do is I will just ask my Python that, or I'll do one automatic script to that, and tell that switch that if this errors counters will goes too high, then automatically shut down that interface. I'm just writing a condition over here that if let's see it's too high, in the sense we can also give you a limit that okay, I want the up to 1 lakh input errors, I'm fine with it. After 1 lakh I need to shut it down. That is totally depends on you, right? If it is too high, then shut down that interface, right? And as well as you can change the output as well. Output in the sense you can change that. If you don't want to shut it down, that interface, what thing that you need to do over here, that is totally depends on you. So that is what the one of the advantage that why network automation is important in our network domain. Second, now move ahead. Now why there is a requirement of automation? Again there is a question. Okay, we have seen that how we can configure, how we can take the input, we can take the versions, how we can control our interface errors and all. But there is one major use why it is important: to reduce human error. To reduce human error, obviously we all are human. It is possible working in the network industry, we could do the mistakes, right? Rather than let's take an example, if I need to configure these 6 switches, and rather than configuring switch number 1 as a host name, I have configured switch number 2 as switch number 1 as a host name, right? So this is what the human error it is. So this type of human error we can eliminate with the help of network automation, right? So this is one of the key feature of network automation. So here as well, I believe in the slide here as well, switch host name. See, I need to configure the IP address of switch 1 to switch 6 on geek 0/0 interface, right? So rather than going to each and every switch, rather than logging to each and every switch, what I will do is I will go to one, I'll just create only one program for it. And what my program will do, my program will give me the output at it will go to each and every switch, right? My program will go to each and every switch, and it will configure this gig 0/0 interface for me, because I have set that IP address with the particular range as well, right? So here 1.11, it's a switch 1.12 to 1.16, whatever the range that you want, according to that you can send the configuration to each of the switches. And it doesn't mean that there is a limitation. See, automation has no limitation. As well as you just need to think of, okay, you just need to think of worst conditions. Taking the automation, it doesn't mean that because if you got a question that okay, the automation is coming, it means there is no network guy, there is no use of network people. No, that is completely wrong. The thing is like, every network person needs to upgrade herself, right? Needs to upgrade herself or himself, both. The thing is like, if you know better how to configure BGP, right? You know how to troubleshoot, you know how to handle P1 or P2 calls, right? That is totally fine, which is day-to-day work of the network engineer. But what new that you know? Nothing. For that, if the time which is required for configuring the BGP, which will be very less if you use the network automation. Let's say if you have a change incident, sorry, if you have a change man, if you are working in the change management, if you are dealing with the change, you need to start from the scratch, right? According to your MOP, what you can do is you can quickly create that script, and according to that script you can deploy that script into your network devices. So usually it doesn't mean only routers and switches. I am telling over here entire network equipment, which includes firewall as well. So this is how we can reduce the human errors. Let's move ahead with the next slide. Now, this is a typical example, and we all are network engineers, we used to deal with it. I think this is a pretty good example. Let's say if this particular user are facing a network down issue, at the case, what we used to do, we just need to log into the particular switch. Then according to that, we have to trace the MAC address of it, and then via this switch, see, I have logged into this switch and this is the IP of the user, right? So I just need to check that where this particular user has been connected. So I'll just go to this switch, I'll just do with show MAC address table and interface and all. Then what will be the next step? We just need to, we will get another MAC address of the switch where this interface is connected. Then we will log into that switch. We'll again do the same procedure. Then we'll got to know, okay, this is the switch. And then we got to know, okay, this particular user has been connected to GI 0/15, which is this switch. And then we got to know that it could be anything, it could be any error, but it is a waste of time, guys, because we are logging to this switch, then this switch, and this is a waste of time. Now how we can eliminate this stuff in automation? See, the Python, what Python will do, Python will keep an eye on each and every switches, right? Whenever this port will goes down, right, at that time it will notify to you that this particular user or this port has gone down, and then according to your action, your troubleshooting part, you can jump into it, right? Troubleshooting, and to be frank, it is Python will just help you in troubleshooting, right? Python will not do the troubleshooting automatically. And that is the main concept that I wanted to tell you, that network automation is it will help you in your regular task, day-to-day activities. But if you are in mind that there is no job for network engineer after this, no, this is completely wrong. Let's move ahead. Okay, so guys, this is what the Cisco says, right? Cisco is saying that the 95% of network changes today are done by manually. Obviously, before coming to this session, you got to know that okay, you are pretty good in the network part, but if you got to know what is network automation, it's an interesting thing that we need to migrate. And believe me, after year or two, everyone we should have to learn at least one programming language. And before that, if you're not learning it, I believe in corporate world, we all needs to upgrade ourselves. So this is a good way to upgrade yourself, because it is relating to your work as well as it is relating to the IT field, right? So you will have an add-on. Now, manual changes leads to the configuration errors and inconsistency in the network. Obviously, if we let's consider this by the example. If you have 4 routers with you or 4 switches with you, you have a 2 changes, change 1 and change 2 on the same day, right? So at the time of change, rather than pushing the image on this particular first change, by mistakenly you have pushed the image on route on this particular routers or switches. It's a human error, right? So that is what the Cisco is saying. Why you are going with the manual one? Invest here time to troubleshoot, to invent new troubleshooting steps in your day-to-day work. This manual stuff we are doing since long back, right? So that is what the we can improve our skills. Now expanding network changes to scale can be problematic. Now, as I told you that upgrading the switches via Python automation, that is fine. But what if the after upgradation the switch will go to the Roman mode, right? If there is any issues in my image, that switch could be go to the could go to the Roman mode. Then who will be there to handle that situation? See, Python will take care of it. What it will be, but before to that, you just need to tell that Python that if you need to set the condition for that, if that switch will go to the Roman mode, right? That then you need to do this particular thing. This particular thing in the sense you need to write the code according to your own. What you need to do, you need to reset it again. You need to stop your execution at that point and send an email to the management. That is totally depend on you, right? Python will help you how to reach to your destination, but you need to go to that destination. Now, network downtime and non-remote troubleshooting time are discriminatory. Now, how we can deal with this network downtime and all? Let's understand again with the example that, as I told you, this is a BGP stuff that we have, right? And we are doing our monitoring system is doing a huge it's a good task, but it's a waste of money as well, because Python is a free platform and we are investing money in that. So what we can do is, either I think I have told you this example earlier as well. If there is a BGP neighbor down issue, it will now going to send this particular error message, downtime error message, or let's say air particular there is an outage in your area. This entire signals, or we can say entire alerts, will gonna send either on the platform that you have, you can design it afterwards after studying network automation, or either you can take this on an email. So that's it about network automation from my end, that why it is important. Now let's go ahead with some history of Python. So guys, Python has been developed by Guido van Rossum in 1991. See, Python is developed in 1991 only, right, by GVR, name as Guido van Rossum. Now, in 1999, it has been open for all the users. So from 1999, users are using it, and it has been famous in 2006. But right now as well, there are 80, I cannot say 80, but there are few people who don't know what is Python, how the Python is dealing with, right? So, and that is why we are in 2021 now. And right now, this particular language is pretty old. So why in this era there is a craze of Python is going high? That we will compare now. So here it's a chart by PYPL. It's a popularity of the programming language test, and you can see that the rank of Python is #1 now. Why there is a craze in the market right now, and why the Python is hotcake in the market right now? First thing first, most of the platforms has now migrated to the Python, and that is the reason the first company who migrated their stuff to Python is Google. And due to Google, now every single organization are now migrated to the Python. YouTube, Mozilla, Quora, Dropbox, and all. So there are multiple. Instagram recently just had a news of Instagram that they recently using the Python in the background. So it's a hell of opportunity that you're gonna get, because you're gonna know two things. You know network very well, and here you'll got to know what is Python very well. See, in this class, guys, I'm not the person just give you that how to automate your network. I'm the person, I believe that, yeah, I need to tell you what is Python from the scratch. If you learn Python from the scratch, then you can automate any device. Either I could do things like, let's say I have two devices. Directly on the starting of the class, on the first class, I'll say that how to automate these two devices only. But you'll got to know in the future that, okay, how to automate these two devices, that's fine. But what if there are another vendor, right? For that, you need to do the logic. For logic, you need to understand the Python. And that is what that I used to give you this style like of stuff. Now, we have heard about network automation a lot. Let's move ahead with Python stuff now. Now, first thing first, okay, I am not, let's take, if you are thinking like I'm not from the programming background, I just heard about this particular network automation. Do I need to jump into the programming? I need to learn programming. First, guys, this is the myth that for network automation, you need to learn the programming, right? Second, learn programming in, I'm not saying like that completely we are not jumping into the Python. Yes, we are jumping in it, because we need to keep our hand dirty, right? That is the reason that I am here to tell you that how Python work in network environment. I'm not telling you that how Python work in development environment. And I have told you the difference as well in the first slide. Now, Python has a high easy to learn facility, and I cannot say facility, but it has an easy to learn advantage. Now, it's first thing first, it's very fast. I can compare, you can compare, if you get time, just search on the web. Let's compare Python with Java. There are, let's say in Java there are 6 lines of code or 8 lines of code. In Python, it's just a 1-line code. So this is one of the pretty good example that how Python will work fast. And that is the reason that for network automation, Python is very compatible language, right? Now, second is IDE, integrated development environment. So what is IDE? Now, guys, we know Python very well, right? Now, IDE means a platform where we can run this Python code, right? So that is IDE. Don't worry, I'm gonna tell you how to deal with Python, how to deal with IDE, how to install this IDE and Python into our system. We have a separate class for it. We will go step by step. Let's move ahead with another slide. Now, sorry. Now, getting Python installed in Windows PCs is very simple, and Mac as well. It's very simple. We have two versions for Python, guys. It's 2.0 and 3.0. See, 2.0 has been exhausted. So right now, there are few people who are using 2.0, but here in the class, we are using most recent version as 3.0, right? So I'll tell you how to install it further. So in the 3.0, see, there is no difference in 2.0 and 3.0. There's a difference in syntax and few of the modules. So for the network automation, I would suggest you just go with 3.0. Now the IDEs part. What are the IDEs that we gonna use? So for IDE, guys, IDE is an integrated development environment. So we have multiple IDE name as PyCharm. Second, we can use Google Colab, right? Google Colab, right? Third is you can use just like a Visual Studio and all. Fourth is Notepad++. But here in our lab, we can use PyCharm, which is the most commonly uses IDE in the Python. Second, I have told you that for Python 3.0, we're gonna use it. So this will gonna use in our class. PyCharm will be the IDE, and this is all the Python stuff. How we can connect to our network? For that, we are gonna use GNS3 and EVE, both, right? So for those who are interested to work on GNS3, that's completely fine. I'll tell you how to install the GNS3 in your system. And for EVE, that is also fine. I'll just share you the image and you can deal with it. Now the question arises is, will I going to share
Mr.
you the
DP, can you just
labs?
maximize your screen?
Yeah, that's fine. So the question is like, how we can shall I going to give you a lab or not? See guys, what I believe is, if I share the lab, that is fine, but the lab will be for the limited period of time. What if after that time you need to install or you need to work on that? Then there is no use. So what I would suggest is, create your own lab. I'm going to share every single thing to you. I'm going to share images. I'm going to share my lab setup. You just need to have a specific configuration in your systems and you can create your own lab, right? I will help you out if there are any issues. So that's it about our Python. Now let's move to a demo lab, right? So this is our network automation lab. I have created this in EVNG. So let's go ahead. Right now we are going to use the library name as netmiko, right? So rather than jumping directly on the lab, we will now tell you, we'll now discuss about what are the topics that we are going to give you in this particular session. So give me a sec. Now we will share that what are the topics that we have. I hope that you're getting my screen. So we have 5 modules for you guys, right? So five modules will gonna tell that first module include this Python, which include entire basics, right? So as I told you, that basics that in that 5 modules that we have, which in the first module includes the basics. The first module includes the basics. The second module includes the Python for network automation. The third module is include all the ASA stuff. Now, fourth and fifth module are the extra add-on to you for Palo Alto and F5. See, this except these 2 modules, these are a compulsory courses that we are going to do. These are add-on modules to you for raising the API stuff. For raising the API stuff. So, as let's move ahead, or let's start from the first module that we have. The first module is overview of the Python module. Now I believe this has been covered in the demo session only, so we're gonna cover in the first class as well. So this will be a second part, how we can install our labs in GNS3 EVNG and how we can install IDE Python and all. So this will be our first or second class. This is the what are the fundamentals that we're gonna give, then the journey of what are the databases, or sorry, not databases, data types in Python that we have, then modules of functions. See, function is a very key element of the Python. We need to learn functions very well. Now, until here, if you cover this part, until here, you're gonna learn 23%, no, 23 or 24% of Python only, right? Remaining part is totally based on this list, function, tuple, boolean, right? So there are dictionaries. This is the heart of Python, guys. This is the heart of Python. And if you see, if you know the Python programming, of if you get any program from your colleague, 80% of program depends on this list, tuple, and dictionaries. Then operators, then loops. Loops is also a good example, because if you want to deal with multiple devices, loops is a best example. Then the API, as I told you, API is an add-on module for you, which include module 4 and module 5. Now, let's move ahead with module 2. So module 2, network automation module. So here I'm giving you that 6 major key part of network. First is telnet lib. Telnet lib, that how we can deal with telnet lib library. As I told you, we are not going to create this telnet lib library. This has been created by a Python developer for us. We are going to use the concept of that telnet lib library, which could help our particular network devices. Now, every library has almost 13 labs, almost 13 labs, right? So you're gonna learn more. And believe me, this is not a hard as if you're thinking. Either I can assure you that if whenever we're gonna start the session, within 2 or 3 class maximum, max to max fourth class, you will gonna start to do your own programs, right? So this is the telnetlib Paramiko, which is the second library. If you want to deal with any of the SSH part, Paramiko and Netmiko are good, pretty good in that. See, these are the three libraries are now everyone is using it. But in the market, Napam is a very new library, and which is a easiest one according to these four. But if you don't know these three, you'll the learning Napam is a waste of money, right? So I have included the latest one as well. Okay, that's fine. But what if I need to deal with thousands of devices at a single time? For that, we have to learn multi-threading. So I'm going to tell you that what is multi-threading. Then we got to know that few of the files that could be sent, we need to send the files to the client in the Excel format. We need to fetch the data from the Excel. At that time, I'm gonna tell you that how we can handle the Excel part. Now module 3 is basically for those who want to learn ASA, who want to automate the ASA. So these are the ASA firewalls. So how we can integrate ASA with our network stuff with the Python, that we're gonna learn, and we're gonna see this all 5 labs, so 5 or 6 labs. Now these are the add-on module that we are giving to you is Palo Alto and F5, which is basic on APIs. So which is also include 5 labs in module 4 and module 5. So that's it about our syllabus of our network stuff. Now we will quickly move to our particular lab. So this is the lab. Let me show you the lab first, and then we'll move ahead. See guys, this is our lab for network automation, right? So we have a setup with me. These are a few switches, multi-layer switches. This is the ASA and Palo Alto firewall. This is our router with us. Right now, I'm not turning on each and every switch and router. What I did is I have just turned on this switch, this router, and this switch. So which I have already set, or I have already given configured these IPs. Don't worry, I'm gonna tell you how to configure the devices as well in our main classes. So for first thing first, we need to check the connectivity of the devices. See guys, before jumping to the any of the code or any of the automation, we need to verify the connectivity. How we can verify it? So simple, we all knows that how to verify. We just need to ping our devices. So ping 192.168.1.221, which is the IP of my device, IP of this device, and see this device has been reachable to me from my local machine, So I'll also check for another device as well, which is 230, the IP that I have given to this switch. Let's see, this switch is 230. I'll just check the connectivity for that too, because I need to perform the automation on that. Right, so that's fine. I think we can, yeah. See, I'm able to ping that 230 switch as well. So this is what the first step that we have completed. Let's move to the programming part now. I hope that you have a lot of questions, but don't worry, after this I'll gonna clear your questions. This is the first class, right? So let's delete and let's start from the scratch. So guys, first line first, I'm going to use netmiko library, right? I hope that when I have shown you that Excel sheet on the module number 2, library number 3, name as netmiko. Now how we can deal with netmiko at the first moment? From netmiko import, I'm just importing connect handler. Don't worry about it. What is this? So guys, here what I'm doing is I have a netmiko library which is created by whom? Python developers for me, right? Which is stored in the particular file. I'm gonna tell you how to install that library from the web. It is very simple, right, in the class, but it is not, it is I'm going to tell you in a demo session. Now from that library we are using this particular class name as connect handler. Now what is meant by that? See, netmiko has given netmiko is the library, and in this netmiko we have a class name as connect handler. I'm gonna show you where this connect handler is, right? So now what I'm telling Python is go to netmiko first, right? From netmiko import this connect handler. I really don't I'm not interested in entire netmiko library. See guys, here in Python, we, as I told you, Python is a very fast language. Being a Python developer, you need to install entire, you need not to fetch entire thing from the netmiko, because it will take a time in the background to automate your devices. So what I'm doing is I am just importing only one class name as connect handler. Now let's move ahead with another line. Now here in the second line, I'm going to create a variable name as Cisco device. So guys, what is my variable? Then variable, I'll explain more in the class, but right now just consider variable as a box. Variable as a box where we can store our content, right? We can store our content. Then what type of content it will be is known as data types, right? So we're gonna see each and every data types as well in the class. What are the different types of data type? What type of data we can store in the variable is known as data types. It's a basic definition. So, but now for the first time, just consider as a box where we can store our data. What data it could be IP address, it could be device name, device type, and all. So as a netmiko part, I'm gonna use first is device type. See guys, if you're not understanding, obviously this is no one will going to understand in the first class only, right? So it will gonna take time, but it will not going to take time until the end. In the 6th or 7th class, you will able to deal with this particular code. Now this is the device type. What type of device that I'm using, which is Cisco device, Cisco iOS. Now I'm giving a IP, right? So IP that I have is, we have seen 192.168. I'm just using only one device now, 230, right? See, Python is very smart language. Right now it is, I hope that you can able to see this red line because there is a syntax error. And why we use PyCharm for it? PyCharm as an IDE to use Python because it will give you this type of stuff. Let's say I'm moving my cursor to this red line, it will give me the message that comma expected because I have missed comma over here. So if after hitting comma, this red line will go. Now I have already configured my username, right? So my username will be Dheeraj. Second, I have configured the password already on the device. I have configured SSH already. Cisco. Right now I'm just fetching the devices details, device details. Port, what is the port? 22. See, by default netmiko, the library by default in the background it will use SSH only, but it's an optional one you can give. Secret password, if you have secret password given to the device, you can go with that secret and then Cisco, right? This is what the thing. Now that's all about our initializing our device. See, right now I have missed comma, so red line, always keep in mind. This is the dictionary, guys. Now let's move to connection. Is a one of the object, sorry, not object, is the variable. Here I am now calling my connect handler, which is my class. Again, I'm telling, don't worry if you're not getting, because I am giving very little things in a demo session. I'm not explaining more because I don't have that much time to explain you each and everything right now. Just try to understand one more time. So here I'm just calling this connect handler class and I'm passing my details from the Cisco device. As I already told you, what is this? This is a container. This is the box. And this box I'm passing to this connect handler. So whatever the data inside this Cisco device will now go to the my device and will try to connect via SSH. Then the thing is like I also need output, right? So for output, what I will do, I'm now getting this connection dot, because I have stored my SSH connection into this connection, because there is another box. I have secured my connection. I have stored that connection to this connection variable. I'm telling Python, go to this connection, which is SSH, and send the command name as what command you need to send. Let's say show IP interface brief. I need to send that command, right? Now, simple thing, simple. Let's print that output. Print, what is print? Print will just give you the output on your screen. And very important thing, you need to close your SSH connection. So simple command is like connection dot disconnect. That's it. 3 line of code will give you the result of show IP interface brief. But before that, I would urge you, or I would suggest you, try to go inside your device via putty to confirm that it is working, or as if there is no errors or not. Although if you are in the data center part, that's fine because you have tested a lot. But right now it's a new one for me, so I'm trying to install or trying to take the access via putty at the first time. See, it is accessible. Switch number 10. Now let's try from our code. So right click and run netmiko 1. Netmiko 1 is a file name that I have. See guys, I'm getting the output interface giga 0, interface 0/1, 0/2, and so on. I also have VLAN configured. So if you want to see that show IP interface brief, see the same output that you are getting over here, and it's a pretty good thing you will get within a specific time. So that's it about this particular code. I could have take much of it, but right now it's a session for question answers, and that's it about this demo section. I'm done, guys. SI guys, you can take it over from here.
Hello everyone. So if you have any questions, please ask here.
Thanks,